So what is the nature versus nurture concept? It's really the question of what is the underlying cause of disorders or personality or really just about anything, behavior. The question is the cause due to nature or genetics or what we're born with, what we're pre-programmed to do? Or is the cause nurture, which is environment, which is reacting to external forces? That's really the overall general question that can be applied to all sorts of things. I think they both affect just about everything. And that's based, there's a lot of research that on any topic you can think of, there's a lot of research that points to that very fact, that pretty much everything you can think of, whether it's behavior or disorders or anything, is some sort of interaction of genetics and environment. So I don't think that it's ever the case that one thing kind of takes over. I think it's always, you know, your risk for cancer or your risk for schizophrenia or just about anything is a product of interaction of genetics and environment. I think it's impossible to answer a question like that with an N of 1, with only one child, right? I guess the first thing I would want to know is when you say, does it affect the child, what kind of effects are we looking for? What are we looking for? But with science, you really can't answer any question if you've only got one individual that you're studying, right? So if we want to know if taking away a pacifier at an early age affects children, what we would have to do is take a whole bunch of kids, half of them take the pacifiers away, the other half of them leave them with their pacifiers, see what differences there are down the road. But even in that case, what we're looking at is differences in nurture, right? Because we're changing the environment. We don't know what differences the children had inherently, genetically, that they were born with, so the nature part of it. So that's where it gets kind of tough to answer questions about, well, what effects does, this environmental change have down the road? We need to also take into account that all of those children came into that study with different genetics, with different nature. There is some evidence with autism in particular, there's evidence that there's genetic links to it. But there's not like an autism gene, like if you have this gene, you will develop autism. It's again, probably some sort of predisposition, maybe a collection of genes interacting with some sort of environmental forces, so some sort of interaction of genes and environment that potentially brings about autism. So yeah, a combination of the factors, I think.